Everyone gathers round, the Beltane fires have been lit. Now is a time for celebration and fertility. Welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with Mystic Genmara, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho, and today I think is a good day to celebrate or go over the history of a little bit of it. The celebration of Beltane. Beltane in the older traditions is the opposite or the balance of Samhain, whereas during Samhain the veil between worlds thins and it's usually into the ancestors and the maybe a little bit darker side of things. The time of Beltane is when the veil thins as well, but it opens up to the realms of the angels and the fairies. So it can be a very joyful experience, it can be a very exciting experience. But everything has to start with and kind of end with, at this point, the elemental energy of fire. Because when we think of Beltane, one of the first things we think of is a bonfire, because that is basically the meaning of the name. Beltane is loosely translated to be bright fire. So it's a time to celebrate the return of the sun to ruling the sky. We are crossing over the midway point, which happened at Ostara, or the spring equinox. So now we're into the time where the sun is rising in ascendancy. This is when the Lord that was birthed at Yule is now into his young adulthood, that 18 to 27-year-old age, so to give or take. And this is also where he has matured into his fertile state. The lady has reverted to her maiden state, so she is the, I guess you could call, the virgin huntress at this time as well. So you've got this beautiful connection of, we'll just call it sexual tension going on here, but it is specifically for the creation of fertility, for abundance, for blessing the next year's supplies, and especially the summer during the planting, the growing, and the harvesting season. This is where you set all of those things in motion for their greatest success. This was a time where in some groups, not always, it depends on your group, they would actually suspend wedding vows for this one day because the energy was so intense that it was a little bit more wild magic, you could call it. Children who were born from these particular trysts were considered sacred or special because they were actually blessed by the Lord and Lady of Fertility. So there were some interesting times that went on back in the day. In myth, this is, like I said, the time when the Yule Lord has been matured into his full state, and this is their first official joining as a couple, is Mayday or Beltane. So some cultures would light two bonfires. You'd have one for the Lord and one for the Lady. And these were generally built with very sacred fire, or wood. This one is just a bonfire that we had a few years ago. And oddly enough, there are times at Beltane, you see here in the back, there's all this white nasty snow. That is something that does happen in some of the more northern regions, but the fire is saying the snow is being pushed back. It's time for summer to come in, for the Lord to ascend in his authority. So it's very powerful when you see the image of fire and snow at Beltane, because it's like, winter, you're done. This is the time where you go away. Summer is here. So the wood that was usually used, though, was said to be 9 woods: alder, ash, birch, hawthorn, hazel, holly, rowan, oak, and willow. These would be built close to each other, but not too close, because one of the old traditions was to drive your flocks and herds through the center of the fire, in between the two, and this was a way of receiving the blessings of fertility and protection from the sacred Lord and Lady during their fertility rites as well. So the tribe and villagers would also leap and run through the fires to receive their blessings, for protection, for increase of fertility, to find love, to increase prosperity or abundance. Even something as simple as traveling, they would use this as a time to bless your family or group if you were going on journeys. So this was a time for petitioning the Lord and Lady so that you could infuse that fertile energy with things to support and enhance your part of the world, so to speak. The ashes from these fires would generally be divvied up, used to bless gardens. They would be used in healing rituals. Everyone present would get some of the ashes, so it was super important to be there on those days, because if you weren't there, well, also water magic was huge. And the early morning dew, or frost, if you had that culture where you'd have to scrape the frost off, but in the morning of the first, you would collect this water, because this was sacred. Generally, you could go to sacred wells and draw the water at the crack of dawn. Just as the dawn touched the well, you would draw the water. And you would use this for blessings. It would be used for holy water throughout the year for different purposes and practices. So this day was very, very sacred. Like I said, in a lot of ways, it's the sister to Samhain. So these are times when the veils are very thin, and usually some really interesting things can occur at these times, so be open to the experience. One thing that I love to talk about, I've only been able to really be around one of these ever in my life. I'd like to do more, like in a group's form, and that is a maypole. So when we think of maypoles, we tend to think of like something for the kids, but they're actually a family event. This is a small one I found pictures of, and this one doesn't show it, but generally you're having two different directions with your maypoles. So if you have an even number of male and female participants, which is preferred, you would have the males go one direction, the women go the other. For example, men would go clockwise and the women would dance counterclockwise, and these dances, especially if it was more of an adult situation, would be full of cheeky innuendos, a little bit of amorous flirtation, and a lot of humor and laughter. This was not something serious. This was a celebration of the winter is over, we survived, and now we're going into the spring. Lord and Lady, bless us with your prosperity. So these could be subtle, or they could be very blatant. Some of the old stories about them were a little risque, if I do say so myself. So you would sing songs, you would dance, you'd crack jokes as you're dancing around, and as you're dancing around the pole, you're bringing the ribbons together, so you're wrapping that pole in all of these ribbons. So this was a way of celebrating life as a whole. This wasn't about something simple. This is a good image of the inner circles dancing one direction, the outer circles dancing another. In this one, it's predominantly female, and they're dancing around the symbol. I think this is more of a wedding one during Beltane, but these type of things were used for a lot of different celebrations. So these are the fun aspects of Beltane. These weren't made for just simple things. This was a very important celebration, and it was a very joyful celebration. So once the maypole would be wrapped with all these bright colored ribbons, it would be a couple of different versions. One would say it would be left until the celebration was over. It would be then burned and the ashes spread amongst the people. Others would say that it would be left up through the center of town for the next year, and then on the next year it would be burned as part of the bonfires to the Lord and Lady. Others would say that they would take down the ribbons that each person danced with after the celebrations were over, and they would be granted those as a blessing for their household. So, however, if you choose to do a maypole, you feel that you want to do this, these are all the different options to practice with. So you've got a lot of different ways to play. You can do these as small as a 4-foot tall pole bolted to a board sitting on the middle of your dining room table if it's not comfortable outside, or you don't have a place to do it outside. Or if you've got the places outside to do it, you can erect a full pole and do the entire dance that way. It's a way to remind yourself, a little cheeky here, of the Lord rising. So the pole is the phallic Lord, and you're wrapping it with the petitions, which is more of the feminine aspect. You can put two and two together there. And when you have that joining, that is that creation of fertility, that is that creation of life. The celebrations of Beltane are, as a rule, not always, but as a rule, are set up for fertility. But it's not just fertility as in birthing a baby or the next generation. It's fertility as I want to inspire love within my life. If you're single, if you are trying to build that business, you want to infuse that fertility into creation, into abundance, into prosperity. This is a time of joy. This is a time of celebration. This is a time to go out in the sun. If you can't go outside, go to a window where the sun can hit you through the day. Be as much into the joy of the celebration of life as you can. Whereas Samhain is the remembering of those who passed, Beltane is the birthing of those who are yet to come, the celebration of those who are with us. And as I said, with the veil between worlds here being thin again, you also have the beautiful gift of easier communication with the angels. Back in the day, this was also a time to work with the fairies, because there were good fairies and there were not so great fairies, we'll call them those. And this was a time to curry favor from the good ones. And that's where a lot of the more amorous activities came from, because it was part of the culture. So if you get the opportunity to celebrate Beltane, I highly recommend it. There are a variety of different stones and crystals. If you like to use those, things that are bright and sunny, citrine and amber and general quartz crystal are all great options. You work with stuff that works with the sun, sunflowers, even calendula, because it's a bright color flower, or pot marigold, whichever you choose. The colors are vibrant. So if you have an altar, want to decorate it up, do it with bright colors. You want to do it with evergreens. You want to do it with the first flowers from your garden, which are generally like crocuses and tulips and narcissus and daffodils. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll get some irises and lilacs, depending on where you're at. But decorate things with the vibrancy of the season. You want your foods to be fresh. You want honey. You want apples. You want, if you have anything that's like ready to harvest and eat that way, you want to go that direction. Anything that is spicy, for obvious reasons, but you also want to keep it pretty light. You don't want to eat heavy this day, because it's going to be a day of celebration, which is a lot of dancing, a lot of spirits could be imbibed at this time, so you definitely stay hydrated as well. Fruit juices, waters, teas, coffees, whatever it is you like to drink, but you're doing so with the intent and the infusion of joy, of celebration, of the next year is going to be even better than the last, where you are putting so much life into what you're doing that life responds by granting you your requests. This is a beautiful time of expansion, of joy, of living in the moment and knowing that whatever happens, you have survived so much already. You're going to survive so much more in the future, and you have an amazing group of guides and guardians who are here to support you. They are here to help you. And in this time, because the veil is thinner, they can communicate a lot easier with you. Well, we can hear them better. Let's put it that way. So we're going to do just a quick visualization, and I'll bring in some crystal energy as we go along here. So if you are interested in that, you can keep watching. If you're not, I do appreciate you stopping by. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment down below your favorite celebration ideas or ways of celebrating Beltane or Mayday. What is it that you have done in the past that you really like to do? What is your tradition on this day? Or if this is something new, what would you like to do with this day? You can drop those down in the comments below, and anyone who wants to hang out a little bit longer, we will go through a little connect in with the Lord and Lady and really get this energy flowing for our collective group here. So we will start with, oh, we're not advertising here. Gazing into the candle flame. It's a little flame in there. And bring your attention as you gaze into the flame to your breathing. As you inhale, you're expanding your belly. Put a smile on your face. Exhale through your mouth, feeling your belly contract as you breathe out. Breathe in, breathing in that joyful, vibrant energy, that energy of fire. Exhale out your mouth, feel it flow out, taking any worry, guilt, shame, or frustration. Take another deep breath in, breathing in that beautiful energy of fire, of fertility, of bright lights filling every cell of your body. Exhale, feel the waves of relaxation flow through your body as you pass all of the negativity out through your breath. As you sit in this peaceful space, allowing the energy to flow through you, you're releasing, you are clearing all of the past year away, allowing it to drain out through your feet, flowing that survival that you've created. All of the tension that goes with it is flowing out, freeing you for what is to come. This is allowing you to connect in with Gaia, the Earth Mother herself, Mother Nature, however you see her. This brings you into balance. As the sun flows down from the heavens, bringing in that masculine divine energy, the goddess comes up to meet, connecting their energies through you. The connection of heaven and earth occurs on this day. The connection of heaven and earth occurs within you. You feel yourself standing in a great stone circle. There are many people surrounding you and two bright, brilliant fires flaming in ahead, one on each side of the circle. There is joy, there is peace. There are many food choices. There's fruit juices, there's meads. Every conceivable celebration idea is here in this moment. As you visit with those who are closest to you, those in the living world, you feel the presence of the angels. You feel the playfulness and the mischievousness of the fairies who come in. The great Lord in his youthful warrior, the youthful young man, that virile male, walks in from the east. The lady appears at his side. With their sun and the moon in its fullest states, they dance and sing as they enter the circle. The Solar Lord, in his power, calls forth celebration for the fertility of the new year, of the summer, new birth, new life, the continuation of everything on the planet and everyone. The goddess joins in. We jump the fire to manifest our wishes, our dreams, our hopes for the upcoming season. The livestock begin to walk and run through the flames, in between the fires, manifesting and seeding the joy of the Lord and Lady. They lead the groups through the different fires. The animals moo, bray, even cluck as they run through, the joy of the season filling them all. Once the livestock has been taken through, the Lord and Lady come about round again to the side where the humans have gathered, where you have gathered. Time for everyone to write down their messages or speak them as they walk through the flames, dancing and singing. We bring in the joy. We bring in the celebration. Dance between the flames. If you're alone or with a partner, dance through the flames, sharing all the joy, sharing all the peace, giving yourself of all the happiness that you deserve. Allow it to flow into you. Speak in this moment your dream, your ambition, the thing that you wish to be fertilized for the next season. Speak it now in silence, in your heart, into the flames. You continue to dance around after you pass through the flames, knowing that the very wish that you have wished for has returned to you tenfold. The Lord and Lady have blessed it through the fertility rites of Beltane. The fires dim, the ashes begin to grow cold. The Lord and Lady share and spread the ashes amongst everyone. As you receive yours, you feel energy course through your body. The blessings that are spawned this day will spread through the year. If you are in a relationship, take the time and remember the magic. Spend time with your partner. Allow yourself the freedom and the joy of the experience. If you happen to be single, this is a great time to ask for a partner, to seek out someone to match your sun to your moon, your yin to your yang, however you see this. As you gently begin to leave the stone circle, you become aware of the room you're sitting in. In spirit, you carry the ashes of the fires. But in the great knowledge of the universe, you know that your wish, your desire has been granted. The vibrations, the tingling sensations, the magic of the holiday are now set and anchored within your very body, mind, and spirit, bringing the celebration and the energy down to a quiet point. We release, let go, and come back to the now moment. Step out to this Beltane with joy, with prosperity, with abundance, and with love for yourself and all beings throughout the universe. Go forth, spread joy, spread the wealth of the Lord and Lady. With that, blessed be.